All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the unofficial podcast. Look, it's the 16th of August, and I have made an absurd amount of short form content in the last week compared to what I usually make. I'm a one-man team. If this is the first video you've ever watched, nice to meet you. My name is Breezy. I'm an independent full-time musician now. Quit my job about 3.5 weeks ago to do this full-time. And you know, the aim of the game, bro, is short form content. If you can crush organic short form content, you've essentially got the key to the world in this day and age. So that's kind of a large part of my success strategy. And so the last 7 days, I've just been focusing on making as much content as possible and learning as much as I can. I want to do this episode in 3 parts. First part is content creation and learning. So basically what I've learned through making the content. And then I want to do a content performance breakdown. Go through my analytics, see what has been working, what hasn't, and kind of my strategies moving forward and how I'm going to improve. And then part 3, life updates. We're going to talk about some other stuff that I've got going on in my life that I feel like is relevant for this point. So without further ado, let's do it. How many pieces of content did I make this week? I think I made around 20, which is, for maths, this is Saturday. This isn't even 7 days currently. I'm just counting it since Monday. So since Monday, which is 5 days, I've made 20 pieces of content, which is about 4 pieces of content a day, which is pretty good numbers if you ask me. Like, for a musician, to be real, I haven't like made a lot of new music recently because I've been so focused on the business and making content this week especially. The types of content, there's been a lot of performance stuff, but not just like straight up performing to the camera stuff with text hooks and trying to make it a little bit more dynamic, not just a singular shot of me performing it, whether I'm standing outside or just doing it in front of the mic in the studio, you know what I mean? I'm trying to make it more engaging. So I've done some performance stuff. I'm leaning more into the talking and storytelling stuff as well. It's a big learning curve for me because I'm still learning how to script and what my authentic voice is and what it is that I actually want to say and who I'm trying to reach. Which is really important, you know, for an artist and for a business owner. Like, if you want to find your customers, you have to know who your customers are and you have to know how you can bring value to them. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on. Obviously, I've got heaps of BTS footage. Not obviously, maybe you've never seen me before, but I'm a rapper, a musician, a producer, and I have my own music, which is Breezy. And then I have Flow State Studio, which is the business where, you know, I make music with other artists and I help them with what they're like with their artist career, if that makes sense. So I've got a bunch of BTS like in session content. Like, I film all the behind the scenes of, you know, recording in the studio. Sorry, I just kicked the camera. And then I go and edit it all and post it all on like Instagram. There's a collab page. Collab post with, you know, the Flow State page and the artist. And I've just been editing heaps of behind the scenes stuff because previously I've worked full time for like a year and a little bit, I believe. And, you know, since I was working full time, I didn't have as much time to edit as I do now. So a big focus for this week was for me to, you know, get through a bunch of the footage that was that was piling up from the past. So a lot of the content is the behind the scenes stuff. And what other kind of content have I been making? I mean, the busking stuff, like live performance, like actual performing, I've been doing some of that. I want to do kind of more of it. And then like more cinematic stuff as well. Like, I posted a couple of pieces of content that I filmed that I got as a birthday present from my missus and her dad, who works at an advertising company, and they linked me in with a cinematographer who worked there, and we shot a bunch of sick content. But anyway, I posted that as well. We can get more into that when we do like analytics review and stuff. But what felt easier or improved compared to last week? Well, I feel like it was easier to do volume because I like scheduled it in my calendar and I kind of like, I set the goal for the week. That's not something that I've usually done before. Usually I just kind of, my calendar usually is just all over the place, and like I just schedule as soon as I think of something, I just schedule it for the next available slot. Like there's no real structure to the way that I have done things, and I'm looking to change that in the future, become more productive, and to extend the actual blocks that I'm focusing on any individual task, because if you task switch, you're less effective at any given task that you're focusing on, if that makes sense. So what felt easier? It felt easier because I structured things and I actually set my primary goal for this week was to, edit a bunch of content, make a bunch of content, and that's what I did. So I felt like that worked really well, and I improved that because previously, like I said, I hadn't approached an entire week with any kind of singular focus like I did this time. Like obviously I did a heap of other stuff as well, but the content was the main priority for this week. Any new skills or workflows changes that helped? New skills, I mean, like the more you make content, the better you get in general, right? So like the scripting, the translating ideas into actual videos that I can, shoot. I've got lines that I need to say, how I'm going to, like I'm prepping the edit in my mind before I even shoot. Like all of these skills and ways of thinking that you need to practice in order for the end product to come out well. Like a big part of how I'm improving, or like a big example of this, is the scripted talking / storytelling / multiple shots mini movie type clips that I'm doing. There's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of stuff that I haven't done a lot in the past, so there's a lot to learn. Like even a couple of months ago, I don't think I've ever scripted like an actual talking video and like edited multiple shots and like tried to tell a story, not just like through my words, but also visually as well. So it's just about like figuring out how all the pieces are going to fit together and like make something that's cohesive, because it's very like, you run into this as well, like when you make music or when I make songs or when you're doing anything, right? Like it's a lot easier to throw a bunch of shit at the wall, jam it all together and put it out, you know what I mean? Like as a song, as a video, as a piece of art on the wall, as like any kind of project, right? But the best quote unquote projects are the ones that satisfy or solve a specific problem. And you can't solve a specific problem if you're not orientating yourself in a particular direction, or you're not setting yourself a particular goal. Now you can, I don't know, I was about to say you can solve multiple things at once, but I don't think you can. Like the I was going to say visual, but like the way it may seem from the outside, like when someone's doing a lot at once, quote unquote, they're not actually doing a lot at once. They're just prioritizing their time in a way that allows them to make massive progress on one thing, to the point where, okay, for example, you spend 4 hours straight on a task, and then for the second half of the day, you spend another 4 hours on a task. And then, okay, you've done 2 different things in one day. And then the next day, you set 4 hours on task number 3. And then for the afternoon and the second day, you spend 4 hours on task number 4. Now, to a lot of people from the outside, for instance, that might look like you're doing 4 things at once, but you're not. You're doing 4 things separately, and you're just structuring your time in a way so that you get heaps done, so it looks like you're doing it all at once, if that makes sense. So you can't really like, it's probably a poor example, but all that to say, like, you can't do everything all at once with one piece of content or one song or one project. You know what I mean? Like, the purpose for me and the metric of success is to like make an impact, right? The only reason you would do something or put time into it is if you were going to get something out of it. And you're only going to get something out of it as if you set a goal. Like, what is it that you want to get out of what you're doing? Like, the purpose of this podcast, and probably a large reason as to why it hasn't, quote unquote, succeeded, is because, like, it started purely as a way of me to, like, be consistent with YouTube, because I like the platform and I like the long form aspect of things, but I also wanted it to be some kind of documentation of the things that I'm going through as I'm, like, growing along this journey, which it's doing on a macro sense, right? And with, like, everything that I'm talking about, like, everything's a part of my life. But if I'm not intentional with a specific individual video, right, and I jump around, I'm talking about a bunch of random stuff, unless the person who's listening already knows me, like, on a personal level, and is, like, already interested in the things that I have to say or what I'm going through or what's happening in my life, no one's going to care. You know what I mean? And even for me, right, as from a documentation point of view, if I'm watching this, man, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years in the future, and I come back to it, it's not going to be engaging for me, or I'm not going to get any value from it. Even if it's me in the video talking about some random stuff and I'm not focused, or I'm not talking about something that's actually going to bring value, if that makes sense. Like, I'm doing it right now. I feel like I'm just rambling and it's not focused, but I'm working on it, and I feel like maybe something I said in there was valuable. So yeah, new skills or workflow changes. I feel like I covered most of it. There's probably more, but if it comes up, I'll talk a bit more about it later. Challenges or bottlenecks you hit while creating. I think it's just distraction, man. I feel like a lot of people talk about this, and I see a lot of people talking about it because I'm distracted a lot. The biggest issue, I think, that people who are alive in today's world face, the biggest obstacle, is not, well, the biggest thing is distraction, man. Like, your attention is the only thing you have fundamentally, and your ability to deploy that in any specific direction is how you actually create value. Circling back to what we were talking about before. And so if you're distracted, you're spending that attention, you're spending your time, you're spending your effort and your energy on something that is not intentional. And by intentional in this circumstance or this context, I mean, like, it's not directed towards a task that you had set or prioritized ahead of time. And, like, sure, there can be things that happen spontaneously that require your time and you need to spend time on as it comes up. But the large majority of things are urgent but not important. And there's this, I think it was Steve Jobs who said it. I may be incorrect. I heard it through Steve Bartlett. He said Steve Jobs. I may be wrong. I may be mishearing this. But he said, I'm going to just paraphrase it. Essentially, in life, you have signal and you have noise. You have what you're supposed to be doing and what you end up spending your time doing when you get distracted or something pops up. You know what I mean? And in order to be effective, you want to maximize for signal versus noise. Like, you want to improve your signal to noise ratio so that the majority of your time is spent on doing things that with intention and that you set out to do and will actually move the needle and get you to where you want to go. I think the actual ratio that Steve Jobs pushed for was 80-20. So 80% of your time is spent signal, whatever that means, and then 20% of your time is spent on noise. And listen, like, distraction is fighting, like, it's like a ravenous dog with rabies, right? It's foaming at the mouth, and at any moment in time, like, it's begging, it's screaming at you for your attention, and you have to constantly fight it. Like, whether it's social media, whether it's other people in your life calling or texting you or trying to talk to you about something. Like, don't get me wrong, all of these things can have merit, and, like, you need to be able to spend time on these things as they become necessary. But that's the thing. We want to be able to stay in the driver's seat and be the ones who are actually in control of the time that we spend. Like, there's a difference between spending your time in a way that you want and that you know will contribute towards the life that you want to live, and spending your time on things that just pop up in the present moment and that demand your time in this very second, if that makes sense. And if you live your life moment to moment and second to second and jumping from task to task and whichever is like the loudest dog that barks at you in that moment, you're never actually going to make any meaningful progress in any direction, because you're always going to be treading water. I think that's essentially how burnout happens, right? You're always just next thing, trying to do a million things at once, constantly getting distracted with something that you think is more important than what you should be doing. There's a big like fallacy that exists in the entrepreneur world, and artists really struggle with this. I see this all the time of like, I mean, you hear this quote that like the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, and diversify your streams of income and get passive income so it works for you while you sleep. But I feel like that encourages a way of living that increases your susceptibility to become distracted, your propensity. I think that's the right word. Like, it aggravates the issue. The only way to actually make progress is by focus and by saying no to everything but the one thing that will make progress, like take you towards the thing that you're actually trying to do. And now I'm kind of feeling myself getting a little bit like a 10% more of a grasp on things to kind of orient myself and where I am and what I'm trying to do, what kind of content I need to put out that resonates, that sends a cohesive message out into the void so that the people who need to hear it can like see it and understand and realize within the first 3 seconds that what I made is for them and that they're going to get value out of it. Because like, if you think about it, the system is so incredibly complex and people blame this thing called the algorithm, right? And I can kind of understand where they're coming from, but the purpose of the algorithm is to serve you content. Like, you've clicked on this content, and if you're watching this all the way through, then the algorithm has done its job. You know what I mean? Like, its sole purpose is to serve you content that you're going to watch to keep you on the platform for longer. Like, that's it. Obviously, like, if that wasn't the case, everyone wouldn't be addicted to their phones and addicted to social media. You know what I mean? So your ability to keep people watching your video is directly proportional to your reach, your traction, your success on social media, your ability to capture attention and deploy it in the direction that you want. You know what I mean? And your bank account is a reflection of how well you can capture attention and then monetize that through a money model. Shout out Alex Hormozi. But yeah, I feel like I was ranting. But yeah, distraction is the biggest thing that I'll constantly fight with, I feel like, for a long time, because, you know, distraction is always popping up and I've always got to be conscious of it and always strive to defend my time, defend it with my life, because my life does depend on it. If you spend your life distracted, you'll never achieve what you want to achieve. And that's just how it goes. You know what I mean? What I keep doing versus what I change next week. Outside of what I've already touched on, I think I definitely need to be more specific about my overarching mission as an artist and as a studio owner, so I can, you know, properly inform my decisions moving forward, whether it be through content or through the business or anything in general. You know what I mean? Like, everything revolves around your why and why you're doing it. And if you don't have your why, you'd like, you know, you'll get distracted easily, like we were talking about before, or you'll just never make any meaningful progress in a singular direction because you'll be always switching tasks and trying to figure out what it is that you're actually trying to do. So I think I can always better define that. And then once I do that and find something that is actionable an executable, I'll be on a much better path. I mean, I'm already on the path, right? And I guess that's like what I'll keep doing, quote unquote. It's just, you know, being consistent, being intentional, trying to always improve and grow. And I mean, outside of that, I mean, like, just keep doing what you're doing, you know what I mean? And that could go, that's advice for anyone out there who's watching this. If you feel like you're not sure what to do, just keep going, bro. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep trying to improve. Stay hungry. Define your goals. Stay focused on your why, and you'll get there. It's just a matter of time, you know what I mean? So that concludes part 1 of the video today. That's kind of what I've been focusing on this week in terms of content and just broader thoughts, I guess, as well, generally. So part 2 is the content performance breakdown. I might as well get my phone for this one. Let me get Instagram. Watch this. Don't get distracted. There's so much shit popping up all the time. I'm sorry, Tigar. I really want to watch that video, but I can't right now. Okay, let's go to my dashboard, my analytics. I'm going to clear all these notifications. These are all liked messages. Blah, 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 blah. Analytics. Come on, bro. So many fucking... It's crazy, bro. I should have recorded this already. The amount of notifications and shit that just pops up on your screen as soon as you open it is wild. No matter, we can't focus. All right. And it's recording now. All right. So hopefully this is on screen and you can see this properly. I'm going to put this to the side and I can pop it up there. So where are we at? This is my professional dashboard. I changed my bio. I feel like I've struggled to know what to put in my bio because it's the thing. It's like, it's your elevator pitch essentially for people who land on your page. Like, what are you about and what should they look at, you know? So this is kind of, these are all the pieces of content I've posted this week. I mean, not all of these are from this week. Where should I start from? This is my video that I posted announcing the show. Let's check out the insights for this one. Maybe I should watch it first. But it got 700 views, which is pretty average, I would feel like, for me at the moment. Yeah, look at that. 3% lower than typical. And let's have a look at the watch time. So average watch time is 7 seconds, and the video is 19 seconds. My typical reel is 44%. Well, there you go. And what's this graph? Likes. Most likes happen in the first 2 seconds, and then it drops off. Well, most of the engagement happened in the first 3 seconds, and I think a lot of that was from my followers. Yeah, look at that. 80%. This was more of a post for my followers. I was kind of announcing that I'm going to do a show, and that was kind of the purpose of this reel. And I think that's probably why it didn't do like amazing numbers, right? Because it was one to my existing warm audience, just to let them know I'm doing a show. Hopefully sell some tickets. It's official. My first full-time gig at Darlinghurst, August 16th. I think the audio could be better. Like, watching this back, I think I noticed this last night. I'm not actually using the audio from this mic. And some unreleased stuff that I'm really excited about. So if you're looking for a fun night out to see a bunch of independent pop fire, and you want a little secret bonus when you buy my ticket with the code BREEZE. It's not a great video, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just basically saying I'm doing a show where it is. Then I say I'm doing some unreleased stuff. Unreleased stuff that I'm excited about. You know what I mean? Like, in order to make a video that does well, it's got to be valuable for someone who's never seen it before. And that's not necessarily valuable for someone who hasn't seen it before. And I think that's why it did well amongst my followers, because they're already invested in who I am. But they're not necessarily, it's not a great video for people who have never seen me before. And I think that's going to be a reoccurring thing. So I've got a weird amount of time now. I just went to do something, download some files to mix into a project that we're working on. I think the problem with this one is the hook sucks. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm doing this. I don't know what to do, so I'm doing this. I can't even read that, bro. To be honest, like, the amount of engagement I'm getting on videos with 400 views is pretty good, to be honest. And a lot of the content that I've posted recently hasn't done very well because of this consistent issue, I would say. So, like, for instance, because I got this funny idea for a piece of content that I do like a really like shitty ad for like comedic value, but I think it just like, it's just too confusing for people who've never seen me before. I think that's why. And outside of like what's a takeaway I can, first 3 seconds, obviously, but what's an actionable step that I can actually do? Well, I think number one, once I define my audience avatar, like who it is that I'm actually trying to reach, whether it be, my existing followers, like I have been intentional about, and I think that's been working pretty well. Like 80% of my engagements from my followers. That's doing well. But like if I'm trying to grow my audience, I need to understand who my audience is that hasn't found me yet, and what information I need to convey and how I need to convey it in order to like attract them. Not attract them, but capture them, to like intrigue them, you know what I mean? Like what they're kind of interested in. So maybe I could start brainstorming. Number one, define who I'm trying to find, and then brainstorm how I can find them. And that sounds simple. I could say the same thing about this flow state page. A lot of it's BTS, which is cool, but I'm not necessarily talking to people who haven't seen me yet. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't think I'm growing. I think that's the main takeaway. I'm not appealing to people who have never seen me before. And in order to do that, I have to understand who I am actually trying to target. And I think that's all I'm going to say about that for now. With that being said, I think next week I need to schedule a bunch of time to figure out my strategy, who I am, what I'm trying to say, and who I'm trying to reach. I think that'll do numbers just in terms of my confidence and my direction. Part 3, life updates. I need to save my voice as well because I've got the show coming up tonight, speaking of. So this episode is going to drop next week, so the show will already have been, but the show for me now is tonight. I'm recording this Saturday 16th. It's going to come out Friday 22nd, I believe, yeah. So how am I feeling? I'm feeling good, man. Like I feel like the set that I've curated is the best set I've ever presented. The vibe, the journey, the things that I'm saying, the way that I'm saying it, and the way that I'm presenting myself as an artist, coming back to what I was saying before about the content. I think in a live performance setting, I'm getting a lot better than that. I feel like that this will be my best performance in that regard, provided, I don't completely blank and lock up, which I don't think I will, because like another thing, like the busking has been massive for me, like just being able to perform more often. So, I know the songs front to back and engage with complete strangers, which gives you a lot of confidence for, shows. So I'm not going to, I'll probably have some nerves, like I hope I will, for the fact that, I think it'll push me and make me perform better. But yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I think it'll be my best performance in that regard. In general, I'm feeling really good about the show. It's my first show as a full-time musician. Massive step, big things, really excited. I feel like I'm doing it. It's a big step. It's a step in the right direction. And I feel like I put in the proper preparation to put on a good performance. So yeah, we'll just wait and see, man. Any last minute prep or expectations for the show? I just want to be able to go in there, have fun. Number one, enjoy the performance, enjoy the event. I don't want to go there and just have a shit time because it's quite long, 4 hours. And then we go do sound check before that, and we've got to be there the whole time. So I just want to, have a good time. And in terms of prep, I mean, I did my last run through this morning and it went swell. So yeah, it's looking good. And yeah, update on my car. I don't know if you've been following, but I've been, dealing with car problems for quite a while now, but I think it's coming to an end. Today's Saturday. Tomorrow morning, a guy, I've made a deal. He's coming to pick it up. So hopefully that all goes to plan. I'll be busing it to the stew and around and public transport for a little while. I'll have some cushion to, live, make my next plans, depending on how things go, how like quickly I can, not quickly, but how the pieces fall together when I start to, strategize who I am, who I'm trying to help, all those things that we've mentioned before, and then how long that takes to manifest into some sort of consistent income, or see about getting another car. Yeah, man, that's where we're at. I want to thank everyone for coming by, listening to what I've got going on. Big things, a lot of learnings, a lot of growth, and more to come. Follow me on Instagram if you want more updates. Check out the content that I'm making and the music this streaming. I dropped Hardest Part yesterday. Crazy track with RJ. More music coming soon. And yeah, growth all around. intention all round. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.